It's one of the most common artificial sweeteners on the market, aspartame. It can be found in everything from your gum to your drinks and even some snacks.
Yeah, but it's the go-to for millions of Americans looking for an alternative to sugar. But now there's word that it may not be the most healthy option for you.
All right, so here now to break down the possible risks is a primary care specialist and endocrinologist, Dr. Dina Gupta Abdulmulan. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I guess we want to start first, just for everybody at home, what exactly is aspartame?
So aspartame is a chemical that is synthesized to stimulate our taste receptors, specifically our sweet taste receptors, to give us the satisfaction of sweetness. It's a low-calorie sweetener, so it's 0 calories, but it has 200 times as much the feeling of sugar than table sugar.
So it like just kind of lights up our brain to say, ooh, this is sweet, this is great, and we don't get the calories.
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
So a lot of people use aspartame when they're dieting or they have issues with blood sugars, like those that have diabetes or prediabetes.
So what would you say are some of the common products that it is in when people are saying, oh, but it's sugar-free, and it's really has this product in it?
So Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi are probably the two most common items that have aspartame, but also things like sugar-free maple syrup, sugar-free candy, sugar-free gum. NutraSweet and Equal sugar packets contain aspartame as well. So it's actually in many sugar-free beverages, drinks, foods, and candies.
So right away, I know I actually ingest a lot of aspartame, but for somebody who's diabetic and needs to have no sugar, I just choose to have no sugar. But for them, you know, this is a real concern. How concerned should they be about this?
Yeah, so it's really important, right, to look at the calories and look at the ingredients in every single thing that you're eating. So if you are a person with diabetes and everything in your pantry is sugar-free, you need to be thinking about how much aspartame you're actually imposing upon yourself, right? And the FDA actually has some guidance on that. So it basically tells us that about 23 grams of aspartame per pound of your body weight is probably okay as your maximum limit in a day. What's often hard, though, is that you can't really find the amount of aspartame in things like diet soda or even your sugar-free gum. But there is some information that the manufacturers provide us that you should be looking into.
Okay, so what are some of the common side effects that you could experience if you're ingesting this?
So everybody has different experiences with aspartame. Some people tolerate it just fine. Some people will say they're noticing they have more headaches. Maybe they have diarrhea or GI upset. These are some of the symptoms that some people have, but I would say it's pretty rare.
All right, I want to talk specifically about this National Cancer Institute study. 2022 came out. They did the research with more than 100,000 people to look at the connection between cancers. Now, there was 1.5 times more cancers in the people that had high levels of aspartame in their diet, and it was things like breast cancer and also obesity-related cancers.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about aspartame is that you can't really have much conclusive data when it comes to that. We don't have any data to say that aspartame truly causes cancer. I can give you data suggesting that aspartame causes no cancer, and I can give you data that shows aspartame is associated with cancer. So what's important is the data that the WHO is giving us is to look at this and try to limit your exposure to aspartame overall, right? We know there's a ton of different things called carcinogens, which are cancer-causing agents out there. UV light is one of them, right? It's one of the things we know potentially can cause skin cancer. But does that mean that we stay inside all day? No, we protect ourselves. We wear our hat, we wear our sunblock, we stay at home during certain times of the day to limit our exposure. And the same thing goes with aspartame. You need to limit your exposure to aspartame as best as possible. And if you can cut it from your diet, great. But if you need a Diet Coke every now and then, I think that's okay.
It's because I asked her right before we started.
Well, just to be clear, carcinogen is, one study said that this is one. Do you consider this one as well? And is it worse than some of the others that are out there?
So the WHO is considering this as a carcinogen, but it's giving it a specific class of carcinogen. So there's different classes of carcinogens. There's type 1, type 2, A and B, and type 3. Type 1 carcinogen means that this is absolutely going to cause cancer. Type 2 means that it probably will. Type 2B means it maybe can. And type 3 means it probably doesn't.
Okay, which one is this again?
This is in the type 2B category, so it leaves a lot of room for doubt, which is why we can't say with certainty that you absolutely need to limit aspartame completely in your diet to be safe.
But everything in moderation, I guess, is kind of like the good measure, right?
That's right, exactly. And reading those food labels.
Right.
Aspartame aspartame is a chemical. The less chemicals in your body, the better you probably will be for your overall health. So drink water instead.
I'm eating air.
I'm going to take Dr. Dina shopping with me.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dina. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.